the Pokemon Center drop for Destined Rivals was just ridiculous. 2 hours in the queue, people sitting around for absolutely ages, just waiting to even be able to join the website. You can't even get onto the website to even click the link to buy. People getting onto the website, getting into the queue, getting the item into their basket, and then it just not working after that. I've had people messaging me saying that they got one, and then the next day it's been cancelled by the Pokemon Center. It's just an absolute mess. I don't know what Pokemon really are playing at with this at all. I mean, how does the probably one of the most cash-rich companies in the world, I mean, bearing in mind, yeah, they print cards and people give them loads of money for it. So they must have billions of cash reserves in the bank, and yet they can't sort out a website. It's just ludicrous to me. But the craziest thing to me has been the reaction from the Pokemon community, and it is there seems to be a plague of brain rot sort of going across the Pokemon community at the moment, and people aren't thinking rationally at all. And of course, Pokemon do need to do something about this. There is definitely an issue with products getting into. Well, I mean, people are saying products getting into the wrong hands. I guess, in a sense, it is. If it's ending straight up on eBay, then yeah, of course, those people aren't really collecting the set, right? But I think it also begs the question as well that who the promo card for the ETB guys is a Wobbuffet. A Wobbuffet. I mean, come on. I know that Wobbuffet was a big Team Rocket Pokemon, but come on, no one cares about Wobbuffet. I mean, if you really if you really really want that card, then just get the Elite Trainer box, the normal one. Do you really need a stamped version of a Wobbuffet? Really, I don't see the value in it myself, and people are starting to go crazy. As you can see, the prices on eBay are well over £300 at the moment, which is a lot more than what Prismatic Evolutions was originally going for. Now, when the Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes dropped, I didn't get any of those either, but I was picking them up on eBay for 120, 130, around that mark. I mean, as we all know now, they're £250, £280, something like that each. So that's a good investment. I don't see any potential in a Team Rocket Elite Trainer box at £350, guys. I just really don't. I don't see that the promo card is going to be worth 200 quid. The Eevee's not worth 200 quid. So why would the Wobbuffet of all Pokemon be worth 200 quid as well? But I think people really need to take a step back and think about whether the stamp on that Elite Trainer box promo card is really worth it to them. Is it really worth sitting around in a queue for 2 hours, ignoring your friends and family, and you could be doing absolutely anything else? Is a stamped Wobbuffet really, really worth it? I'm not too sure. But there's been some real brain rot over. I mean, I'm on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter or on X, Dungeons and Joypads. But there's just some real brain rot, and I've seen some really, really bad takes over the last couple of days. And you know what? My take might be bad as well. So let me know in the comments if you think my take is bad. But one of the things that I've seen a lot of people say is that Pokemon, they just need to print more. They need to print more. Like, guys, Pokemon printed, I think the stat was like 18% of all Pokemon cards ever printed over the last 30 years were printed last year. Pokemon are printing as much as they physically possibly can. They aren't scaling back printing so that they could just keep prices high on the secondary market. What you got to remember is Pokemon, they sell their Elite Trainer boxes for like 50 quid or whatever it is, right? And then if you sell it on eBay for £300, Pokemon don't make any more money on that. So it's in their interest to print it as much as possible. What you've got to remember as well is that for every set, you've got startup costs as well. You've got to pay for the art, the art from the artists, and there's a lot of art from a lot of artists in each set. I mean, if every set's got like 200 cards in it, that's 200 pieces of art that have needed to be created. I know that they obviously get printed in Japan as well, but there's still a startup cost for this. They have to, change the text and all that sort of stuff on the card as well. So, they are printing as much as they can. And, I've seen a couple of people as well say they need to just build another printing facility. You know, just build another printing facility. It's just easy. Just build another printing facility and just print more Team Rocket. Guys, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like this. How much do you think a printing facility costs to set up, right? I'm going to throw a number out there, and I would say it's probably close to like $1 billion, right? $1 billion to set up a print facility. A print facility requires a warehouse or a big facility to even put it in, right? So presumably, Pokemon would need to buy the land, then need to build the building on it as well. They need to fill it up with print machines as well, which is these machines are expensive, guys. Millions of dollars from a printing machine of this quality. You've got to staff it. You've got to put all the services and amenities inside: toilets, sinks, lights, plants and things like that to make the. I'm sure they've got plants in their offices and stuff like that, right? But glass windows inside and offices, all this sort of stuff. It all costs money. Staff. I mean, if you've got 20 staff in a printing facility, by the way, I'm sure that there's more than that, but 20 staff in a printing facility probably going to cost $1 million a year. That's just for 20 staff, and that's I know that that's like a 50 grand average, but I would expect that like management would earn a little bit more. Some of the other staff would earn a little bit less, so 50 grand's probably about the evens than that, right? So yeah, $1 million a year just on staff alone, probably. So, it's a huge startup cost, and people really do expect Pokemon to just magic a print facility out of thin air, all because Prismatic Evolutions and Team Rocket's coming out, and they should just build another $1 billion printing facility and print 100,000 more or 1 million more Elite Trainer boxes. And it just doesn't work like this, guys. It takes at least a year to even have these things put in place, get planning permission and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got to build it as well, which is probably another year. So you're probably looking at like 2.5 years before you can even get this in motion. Now, I don't know whether you noticed, but Pokemon purchased Millennium Print Group about 3-4 years ago. I think it was, probably about 3 years ago now. So they've already upped their printing capabilities. They cannot up it again just to appease a small period of hyperinflation and scalper mentality. They just aren't going to do it. Once Team Rocket is finished, we don't know what the next set after that's going to be. It could be a pretty mid set, like I don't know, Journeys Together. Let's be honest, or it could be Shrouded Fable or something like that. And in that time, and at that point, I can guarantee that the same people that are saying we should be printing more, they won't want to even pay MSRP for one of these bad sets. So, considering the amount of time that it takes to put something like building a new printing facility into place, our Pokemon should have the foresight. No one has the foresight, guys. No one knows when a market is going to change. You could say, oh, well, they knew Prismatic Evolutions was going to be a really popular set. Yeah, they did. But they also knew 151 was going to be a popular set as well. And that set was around for ages. People were able to pick that up all the time. Prices slowly went up, of course, and they're incredibly astronomical now. But it still took time to get to that. So, in the same logic, if they knew that Prismatic Evolutions was going to be hot and they should have built more print facilities for that, they should have known that 151 was going to be hot and should have built more print facilities for that. But the problem with 151 is that it was hot, but it just wasn't being scalped because it was still in an economic downturn period for Pokemon. And actually it was 151 that was kind of holding up the Pokemon market because every other set was just not performing very well. So, it takes time for these things to happen, guys. Pokemon are not just going to react straight away and go, oh my god, people all of a sudden want Prismatic Evolutions and Team Rocket and Journeys Together. Let's spend another $1 billion on a printing facility that we might not even need next year. And a couple of people have suggested to me that, well, you don't just keep the print facility, you sell it afterwards or you rent it out to people. Well, who's going to want $1 billion printing facility? There's only like 3 companies that come to mind that would even be able to utilise this. And those are Pokemon, Bandai and Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro. Those companies have already got their own printing facilities. Magic uses, I think it's Carter Monday they use, and Bandai use, I think they've got their own, or they might use somebody else, but it's irrelevant, right? They've already got their printing facilities. there isn't anybody that's going to need to use $1 billion printing facility to rent. Who's going to need to rent that? Absolutely nobody. Think of all the other TCGs that are out at the moment. Flesh and Blood. You've got Weiss Schwartz, which is a Japanese company anyway. You've also got Sorcery, and you've got MetaZoo, and all of these companies are not going to have the money to rent out $1 billion, printing facility. It just, who is going to use this? Who's going to buy it as well? No one's going to buy $1 billion printing facility. So basically, Pokemon are going to spend $1 billion on a printing facility that's never going to be used after this year, for example, and it's just going to sit there costing them money and staff and all that sort of stuff. Just completely ludicrous. I don't understand where anybody gets these ideas from. I really, really don't. And, another thing that people seem to be really shocked at is that they seem to be shocked that Pokemon is a business. I sell Pokemon. I'm in this business to make money. Do not get it twisted. I'm here to make money. But why did I choose Pokemon as a vehicle for myself to make money? Well, I used to have a job. It wasn't very fulfilling. I used to make good money from it, but it didn't make people happy. It actually made people, the people that I dealt with, I made them anxious, cry, all that sort of stuff. It's not a very fulfilling job. Whereas Pokemon, you go to card shows, you meet people, you see smiles on kids' faces, you make people happy by doing this job. It's very self-fulfilling. So why it shouldn't be a bad thing for people to make money out of something that they enjoy. I completely understand that there's people out there that work a job that they don't like, and they might not make the money that they want to make, or they just hate their job, they hate the people that they work with. But do something about it, guys. You're more than welcome to get into the Pokemon business yourself. There's literally nothing stopping you. If you find it that hard to get Pokemon product, why don't you set up a business and get a Pokemon account, and you can just order it for yourself if you really wanted to. But people just don't want to do that. They'd rather point the finger, scream and shout at people. And, it's my job to look for gaps in the market or look for where there is margin. It's not rocket science that I'm here to make money. I make these videos so that hopefully people watch them. They can click some links down there. Maybe they'll buy something. Maybe you'll enjoy watching the videos. Maybe you'll subscribe. Maybe you will carry on watching my videos and I'll make a revenue off of that as well. Great. But we can't be under any sort of false pretenses that everybody in the Pokemon business is there because they, love Pokemon, and or just that they love Pokemon. They're not in the business just because they love Pokemon. They're in the business because they love Pokemon and they want to make money. I don't understand why this is so hard to understand, I mean, people for Prismatic Evolutions, a lot of people come out of the woodwork, and there's loads of people that have never bought anything from you, haven't spoke to you for a whole year, and all of a sudden they're like, oh man, have you got Prismatic Evolutions for MSRP? And I'm like, well, no, I haven't, because I'm not selling at MSRP. I charge market price, or just a little bit under. I always have charged market price. That's why Shrouded Fable was 35 quid when it came out. That's why Obsidian Flames was less than £100 a booster box when it came out. I charge market price. I always have done. So you shouldn't be surprised that when the market turns and Prismatic Evolutions comes out, the Elite Trainer boxes are like 70, 80 quid. It's not, that's not me being a bad person. That's just following the market. I'm a business at the end of the day. What you've got to realise is that when a set comes out, that money puts food on my table, it pays my bills and all that sort of stuff. So why would I sell an Elite Trainer box for 50 quid when they're being sold everywhere else for 80? Because all that really means is that another store will just buy them off me, and then I stick them on their own shop for 80 quid, because the margin is the same between 50 and 80. Actually, still more between 50 and 80 as what it is from distribution to retail price. So you're still making more money on that end. So why would I do that? It doesn't make sense. And that's not because I am a scalper or I'm trying to game the system in any way. It's just that Pokemon follows a market price, guys. It always has done. For 30 years, Pokemon's followed market prices. Nothing has changed here. People are just very, very upset that the market has finally turned against their favour, and all of a sudden everybody wants MSRP. And I've done this video before, so I'm not going to go too much into this, but the absolute brain rot that people have at the moment, where they just don't understand logistics, they don't understand the business, or even business as a general. It doesn't make sense for Pokemon to spend $1 billion on a print facility just to print 2 sets. Come on, guys, it's really, really obvious, right? I don't understand why we're struggling with this mentality. I really don't. But that's kind of it for today. I ranted enough about this situation. I'm so fed up with the Twitter Pokemon community. You log into Twitter and all you see all the time is people talking about pricing. Oh, look at this, price of this is too much. Price of this is too much. Oh, look at this card, the price of this card's going up. It's just boring, guys. Just talk about Pokemon. Talk about the hobby that you enjoy. Everybody that's moaning on Twitter is constantly talking about how much they enjoy Pokemon. They just want to enjoy. I just want to enjoy Pokemon. I just want to enjoy Pokemon. But none of you are actually enjoying it, because all you're doing is fretting on the internet about pricing. You know, there's loads of other Pokemon stuff to do. You don't have to just collect the cards. There's the games out there. There's comics. There's manga. I've got plush toys up here if you want some plush toys. You know, I just don't know, guys. I'm kind of lost for words on this at the moment, and I don't know how some people even get out of bed in the morning. But leave us a like, subscribe if you're new here, come back and check out the site. Don't be tight. I don't know what more to say. Don't go out and spend £350 on a Pokemon Center Elite trainer box with a Wobbuffet in it. It's not even an Eevee. It's not even an Eevee, guys. Come on. For Christ's sake. But anyway, Jesse and James, I'm calling it. There's not a Jesse and James card, so we're getting Butch and Cassidy, guys. Butch and Cassidy is going to be in the set. Subscribe if you're new here, like and let. Bye.